Yo, 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 what is up, guys? What is up? Good evening. Let me know if you can hear me okay because there's been like a small delay and a weird lag. So, like, the music came through like mad late. So, just let me know if you can hear me okay. Uh, and yeah, we'll get started here in a few. But I see some of you guys are already in there. I see you in there early talking shit. But yeah, and I know when you said the fourth option, I was like, I went to go back and see if I could add it, but you can't. So there's that. But yeah, that's very true. A self defense, you do never know. You never know. So we will obviously be getting into the crash and all that and discuss what the hot topic is, depending on what you follow. If you follow like true crime, documentaries, all that stuff. We're gonna be talking about that because there has been a lot of shit going around. I tried not to watch other stuff, definitely other documentaries, but I tried not to watch other people's like thoughts and opinions and stuff until I sat down here to discuss it with you guys because I wanted to, since we're just focusing on the crash documentary right now, there's a shit ton of other stuff. There's phone calls from jail, there's court videos that we can watch regarding the actual verdict, the sentencing, the impact statements from the victims' families, her mom. There's so much shit to go over. So much shit. There's other documentaries that I didn't even know were out on her. I had heard of this. Well, yeah, I heard of it. What year did it happen? When it first came out, like once she kind of like made like the mainstream quote unquote, right, like court TV and stuff like that. I remember, or maybe it was Law and Crime. Might have been Law and Crime. Seeing the crash video, and that shit, you just don't forget that shit when you watch that video. It's just fucking terrifying. So I kind of forgot about it afterwards. Not much that came out after that, and then all of a sudden Netflix comes out of nowhere with the crash documentary, and all hell breaks loose. So yeah, Dominic's one of the victims, right? Dominic's sister has been making the media rounds, right? Doing a whole bunch of interviews and stuff. She started her own YouTube channel. So if you want to hear her takes and her thoughts and all that shit, you can obviously check that out because can't even imagine what the family goes through, right? And stuff like this, having to go through it the first time, the trial, it kind of died down a little bit, and then Netflix shows up and it's like, oh, hey, by the way, we're reopening this. We're doing it whether you like it or not, and if you want to be involved, cool. If not, cool, it's still happening. So here you go. Because I did actually hear, the only one I heard, it was her and Brian Enton, I believe. Yeah, Brian Enton. He's actually from News Nation, but I think it was like a maybe 10-minute interview she did. But one of the things that she had mentioned was when Netflix they sent her and her family like letters and stuff, and they pretty much was like, yeah, like we're gonna do it with or without you guys. So if you want to be involved, obviously, cool. If not, cool. And they didn't want to, or at least she didn't want to for the longest time. And then she realized that everyone else, like all the other families, and especially like Mackenzie's family, was doing it. So she was like, "Well, I have to do it. I have to speak up for Dom." So yeah. So the whole point of that is there is so much to get into. That's why I didn't want to watch too many other things. I just wanted to keep it to what Netflix originally, or not original, but what Netflix released themselves. I had a string I had to get rid of. But yeah, so we'll dive into that. But what is up, guys? What up, Maria? E, of course. Jesse, what up, my friend? Ba-ba-bum. No, Maria, no. Maria, so this is the Netflix documentary itself is titled The Crash. So I'll get into it here in a second. But it's about Mackenzie Shirilla. That name would stick out for sure. So if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it for you, but even if you stick around, you should definitely go back and watch it because shit is just crazy. But yeah, but thank you, bro. I see your comment about Cleveland and the tickets, bro. I really appreciate that. I will absolutely hit you up. But you don't need to give me the tickets free, bro. I appreciate that. We'll definitely link up for sure. I think it would be sometime in September. I definitely wouldn't be able to go out there anytime prior because of Frida and her recovery and everything, because she can't go to daycare, definitely. She has to, be up and walking by herself and stuff like that. So probably sometime in September, but I'll let you know, my friend. But thank you. But yeah, Maria, so it is The Crash. That's the title of the documentary from Netflix regarding Mackenzie Shirilla and the accident that she caused. Whether you believe she did it on purpose or not, she caused it, killing the two passengers, her boyfriend Dominic Russo and Dominic's closer friend Davion Flanagan. It was apparently like a newer friend to Mackenzie, so they had just like started like getting to know each other. But apparently Davion had moved in with them because Mackenzie and Dom, her boyfriend, lived together. So we'll get into all that. But yeah. All right, bro. Well, I will definitely take you up on that, man. Thank you. All right, so, but yeah, Maria, so it's a whole bunch of shit, dude. So I'm going to actually show you guys in a little bit the crash footage itself. But let me show you the fucking results of the crash, dude. So before I show you the picture, set the scene a little bit. And kind of long story short, because I don't want to belabor, the point and drag out stuff that isn't too relevant. But there are some things like her social media posts, like her TikToks and stuff that some people are judging. Well, not even some people, but were judged. It was brought into her sentencing, and I don't know if it was the closing statements as well, but it was definitely presented during the sentencing. So we'll talk about that. Because, well, I'll say my thoughts on that portion. But she at the time was 17 years old. Again, Mackenzie Shirilla, her boyfriend was Dominic Russo, goes by Dom. They lived together. She was 17. He was 20. She was, I believe, had just graduated high school or was about to graduate high school. And yeah, they were, like I said, living together. He apparently was very successful in crypto. His sister, gosh, Christine, I think her name is. I need to look that up. But his sister, the one who has her own channel and is doing the interviews, she had mentioned that he had hit it big back in the, what is her name? Okay, like she has a name though. Google, like, tell me her name. Christine, yeah, I thought it was Christine. Okay, cool. I just can't remember if it was Christina or Christine. But yeah, so Christine, she mentioned that he had hit it big back in, I think, like 2020. She said, like, you guys remember when crypto was becoming a really big thing and a lot of people hit it big on like Doge and obviously Bitcoin and stuff like that. Apparently he was one of them. So shout out to him. I missed the train on that. So pissed. I put in like $400 at one point for Doge and it ended up getting to like 6,300 and some change. I cashed out to like get my like input back, the 400 or whatever, but I never cashed out. So you lose, right? But he was much smarter than I and apparently cashed out and put in much more than I did. So he hit it off of that. I think she had mentioned that their family was like pretty good with money too, so I'm sure that helped. But yeah, like he was good. He was a music, like he created his own music, like a producer and all that stuff too. So he was good. He was gonna make his own business as well, clothing business or clothing brand. He was apparently like really into fashion, name brands, and all that stuff. So he had a lot of goals, right? He had a lot of things going for him. He enjoyed basketball. Apparently, very much enjoyed basketball. He would teach Christine's son basketball and like play with him and shit like that. So just apparently good kid. Now, there's always two sides to everything, right? Did he have his days? I'm sure, but all around sounds like he was a good dude. And yeah, Mackenzie, who was the girl who apparently could go in and say whatever she thought she could say and just kind of do whatever she thought she, could do and get away with it. She supposedly had like a long record, or at least a record at school with like disciplinary actions, having to call the family, things like that. That brings in the dad. The dad does well, both of her parents. And in the documentary, they are sitting at the table, I'm assuming their kitchen table. And mind you, this is regarding a car crash, right? A very loud impact and, boom, like all that stuff. So he is wearing a t-shirt that says boom on the shirt. Like, you want to talk about just like tone deaf, like that's, and a lot of people have called Mackenzie tone deaf, and that's where it comes from, bro. Like, just point blank right there. It's like, bro, like, you, of all the things to wear, first of all, when you're doing a documentary, period, but like, why that was the shirt? Like, you just didn't look at it? Like, you just grabbed it out of your drawer and was like, yeah, what, didn't even look at it maybe? Or looked at it, I was like, yeah, this is fine, didn't think nothing of it. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's worse. Like, if you didn't think anything of it, or you're like, huh, that's ironic, or like, I don't know. I don't know. So just the, I lack of a better words, irony for benefit of the doubt. It's just really, it speaks a lot, right? It speaks volumes for what you can kind of get a glimpse into seeing was her upbringing, right? And to be fair, Mackenzie is not the only girl out there like this, or just child out there like this, male or female, who is just the apple of their parents' eye. They do no wrong, right? He said in the documentary, one day when he had to go pick her up from school, the principal or whomever, obviously she was in the office. He said she was crying. He looked at her and he asked her, did you do it? And she said, no, Dad, I didn't do it. And he was like, okay, good enough for me. Let's go. Like, what? I'm sorry. Like, if if that were my grandparents, regardless if I truly did anything or not, they would just be mortified that they were called and had to take time out of their day to come up there and get me because of a disciplinary action. Okay. So, yes, we would end up talking about it, right? But to just completely dismiss it and to first of all just ask me right then and there, like, did you do it? Nope. Okay, good enough for me. Like, that shows the authority at the school. Like, they have no backup either. So, there's just so many different things wrong with it. But at least I'll speak for me. Like, my grandparents, they would never settle for that shit. They wouldn't just like they. I was a good kid, right? Yeah, because I was a little punk, well, not punk. I was a little bitch. I'll call myself because I was terrified of getting in trouble. I've done some dumb shit, but getting in trouble with them like was just like the last thing I ever wanted to do. So they had that going for them. So like, so they wouldn't assume that I did something wrong, but obviously they would know something happened to be brought up there, right? So to just automatically just be on the defense for your kid, like, of course you're gonna go to bat for your kid, but did he even hear out like what happened? Like maybe, and again, benefited out. Maybe when we'll call the principal, whomever called him, they discussed on the phone like, hey, Mackenzie and so got into a argument, a fight, whatever it was. Maybe they gave him the lowdown on the phone, right? So maybe he already knew, or maybe like 90% of it before he got there, okay? So when he got there, all he had to do was be like, yo, Kinsey, did you do it? No. Okay, good enough for me. Still not what I would have done, but hey, to each their own. But to just, and if he didn't, to just get there, pick her up and just go, like, it may not have been that big of a deal, right? I mean, it could have been some dumb shit. Like, she could have, like, thrown, like, food at somebody or, like, done some dumb shit, you know what I mean? But just the idea that she can get away with something, or to not even be confronted, right? Not even have to speak for herself, answer to anything, period, right? And again, this isn't just like a blanket statement. This, I'm hoping at some point they did discipline her throughout her life, right? This was just one experience and just one situation, but they brought it up. He himself mentioned it. So, it's, when you speak about it on a Netflix documentary, you're leaving it open for people to talk about and to interpret. So it is what it is. But again, that just sets the mindset, and it just kind of said a lot to me. Like, oh, like she probably thought she was invincible. So that, along with the fact that she was 17, living with her boyfriend in his apartment or a house, whatever he had, the age difference and all that stuff. Again, some people have been like, "Yo, like that, why would her parents allow that? That's completely inappropriate." This, that, and the third. Some people are like, "It's no big deal." Because I've had friends who were fucking high school sweethearts, pretty much the same age difference, and damn near the same. Well, not volatile, but pretty much the same situation. The dude was a couple years older, graduated high school first, got a job, this, that, and the third, obviously got his own place. Then my friend would end up going over there and staying with him the majority of the week, right? Like, she'd be over there like a few, like 3-4 days out of the week, and then just go home to like do laundry, switch out shit, and then go back, right? So I can't really fault her for that. And it's not like it was just some fling for her, right? They apparently had a serious relationship. Again, it's depending on where you hear from. There's been some reports that they were together for just like a year or a little over a year. And then some people have said that they were together for a couple of years, like multiple years. But it may have been one of those situations that where like they were friendly for a while together and close. They just didn't have like an official title. But yeah, so whatever. They were close enough, and both of the families were comfortable enough to allow it. So hey, whatever. But again, it just adds to like how fucking close they were, you know? Maria, no, but I mean, I did do some dumb shit, bro. Some completely dumb shit. I'm lucky. But yeah, so it goes on to show, I mean, because again, she's 17. This was a few years ago. So the peak of TikTok and all that shit, right? Social media. So they go on to show her just making tons and tons of TikTok videos. They have, so her parents are speaking throughout the documentary. They have Dominic's father and his sister Christine, the one who's doing the interviews. And for Davion, they have his adopted dad, because Davion and his two siblings were adopted. So those are the individuals who spoke in the documentary. But about maybe like a quarter, maybe like 15-20 minutes left in the documentary, all of a sudden you see a familiar setting. If you've watched crime documentaries, right, and crime shows, you see like a bare, like gray, black, or gray wall in the background, some like shitty lighting, like this bare steel table and like a chair, and then you're like, yo. And then all of a sudden this bitch comes walking through and sits down at the table. I said, no fucking way. They really got this bitch on the documentary. Sure enough, she sits down there, and you can tell she was just like trying so hard not to smirk, and just maybe it was like an awkward, because I mean, shit, again, to be fair, I am a very awkward and weird person. So I am that person that like laughs and like smirks or whatever in very uncomfortable situations. So I can't really say too much, but like I don't know. I would think if I was in jail, that would probably snap out of me, but maybe not. I don't know. But this bitch just sits down at the table, has her hair up, her like bangs to the side, like a bun and all that stuff. And I was just like, oh shit, let's go. Like, I love when they get the people involved, especially when you don't really have any idea that they're going to be involved until bam, it hits you. And it's like, let's fucking go, bro. So, because I was really excited to see what she was going to say. Like I said, they have released phone calls between her and her mom and her dad while she's been in prison. But her mom stops her a lot from speaking on those jail calls, because obviously, they're recorded. And whatever she says on there will be used against her in her appeal and all that bullshit. So we haven't really got a chance to hear what she thinks and feels now, obviously, right? Because this was her first interview, which is actually kind of interesting when you think about it, but that probably or may change within the next coming weeks. Because I would imagine if people are reaching out to the victims' families and everything, right? Like, I would imagine they would be reaching out to her, but I don't know if her lawyer would allow her to do that, but we'll get back to her in a moment. But yeah, so those are the people involved in the documentary. They do have what was the girl's name? It was Bubba and Rosie, I think the girl's name was. This chick. Rosie Graham, yeah. So this chick. Oh, she's losing thousands of followers. So it's just, you guys know me. Or if you're new here, or if you're watching on replay, you guys will get to know me. I just fucking can't stand influencers, right? Influencers or yeah, I guess just like influencers and reactors. You guys know, like I can't stand that shit. It just makes me cringe. But hey, to each their own, and good for you, man. It's just weird to me. Like I don't. It is what it is, right? I think it's cool that you can go out there and make a living for yourself, just making videos and shit. Like that's really dope. Maybe one day, we can get there with that channel. So that's not the point, but it's just weird. Like I don't know. It was just like seeing her just call herself, I don't know, like you just get a vibe like, okay, like yeah, her and Mackenzie definitely are best friends. It makes total sense. So she was apparently, or not even apparently, she had, I think she said like over 300,000 TikTok followers at the years ago, when all this shit happened. And that's just fucking wild to me because I don't know. And again, I'm not really big on TikTok, so maybe it's more popular than I imagine, but it's just crazy to me that like just teenagers can have so many, like thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers at such a young age. So I digress, but the point of that is they introduce the TikTok videos that Mackenzie was making with Rosie and her other friends, but Mackenzie would do certain things in the videos, right? She's a big weed smoker, big pot smoker. And hey, good for you, girl. I ain't gonna knock you on that. But she would be taking videos and smoking, like taking videos while she's driving, smoking blunts and smoking out of a little pipe or whatever. Which probably isn't the best idea to record yourself doing that. Doing it is already one thing, but like if you're gonna like you just obviously you're creating evidence for yourself, so not the best idea. But besides that, they actually brought that up towards the end of the trial as well. But she would take apparently dozens and dozens of videos, or I guess TikToks, of her smoking out of this like huge ass bong, like from the ground up, bro, like fucking huge bong. Pretty impressive. Like this shit was bigger than her. Like, she's a fucking tiny girl. Just ripping it, man. Just ripping it. So weed was her thing. And at one point, which again was a controversial take, her dad said, essentially, I'm not quoting him, right? But essentially, like, yeah, he knew that she was smoking weed, and he didn't have a problem with it. But he doesn't have a problem if she smokes it, if he smokes it, if you smoke it. It's not. It's just dope. That's what he called it. I hate that. I hate when people call it that word though. Like I don't know, but it just makes me think of other shit. But I get it's an old time term. But essentially, he doesn't care that she smokes weed because he said something to the effect of, well, what am I going to do to stop her? Or like, I can't stop her. And I'm just like, you absolutely can stop her. Like, what? Like, it's one thing if you're just totally cool with her doing it. And again, she was 17 on the verge of being 18. It's just weed, whatever. Like you said, it's not like she was doing harder stuff or anything like that. So there's that. But you can't like straddle the fence. You either have to like not care completely or be against it and just feel hopeless. Because a statement like, oh, like what am I gonna do to stop her? Like, motherfucker, you're her dad. You are her father. She is still a minor. Like, you can absolutely control her. You can take away all her shit. You can keep her in her room. Like, if you don't want her doing that shit. So, again, I'm not saying that's what he should have done, but to say like, oh, like what was I supposed to do to stop her? Like, bro, fuck out of here, man. Like, there's so many things you can do. So many things you can do. But I don't know. Just some of the comments he and the mother have made in the documentary, and since I'm just like the more you speak, like the clearer it gets what like the clearer it is to see how she ended up where she is. And again, not excusing it, because there's been a lot of people out there who have had not the best parents, have had terrible fucking parents, or have had the best parents you could ever imagine, right? And they either end up as the shittiest person in the world or the nicest person in the world. So it's all about how you are, you know? Like, once you get to a point, it's like you either fucking change for yourself, or you that's just who you are, and you can't, just on you. You know, you gotta own it. You can't play dumb. You just are dumb, you know? You said you learned what TikTok was not long ago. Yeah, man. I mean, I have a TikTok account for the Kick Ash podcast. It's fine. Like, I literally just go on there. We'll post like a video clip, and we'll leave. Like, I don't even, I forget that I even, and I'm just terrible with social media. But I'm that type to post shit and then forget to check it, or just not check it for like a week or two. But TikTok is just so overwhelming to me. It's just too much. But yeah, so that was your thing though. And hey, cool for you, man. But the problem with that was you could tell it was going to her head and getting to her head, and her mom at one point, or someone had called her herself like an influencer as well. So apparently that's what something that she wanted to get towards and be in life. So hey, good for you, man. Again, it's a pretty dope job. Like, I'm not hating, but with how everything turned out, that's kind of the part. But I say that because it's just, and again, I am not sitting here on a pedestal, because I am very thankful that I grew up in the era that I did, because who's to say I wouldn't be some dumb fuck out there like recording myself doing dumb shit. You know what I mean? Because I have done dumb shit, even, not even too long ago, but just older, more mature dumb shit. I don't know. But like when you're a teenager doing dumb shit, thinking, just thinking you're invincible, or just not even thinking at all. We're just thinking it's not that big of a deal. I've definitely been there, done all that, and but the main difference was we didn't have TikTok, like Twitter and all that shit. We didn't have, like, I mean, later on we had smartphones, but it was just different, dude. It was just a different time. So very thankful for that. Because since recording it all, the prosecution used all of that against her, including the video of her smoking while driving. And again, weed is not the most terrible thing to be doing, right? Not while you're driving, of course, legality and all that shit. But again, it's not like she's shooting up or like doing crazy shit. But again, not smart, especially to record it, girl, because it gets used against you. Like, ugh, dumb. But yeah, so they use that video in court to show that what was in her system, which was only weed, which I'll get to in a second, that would not have impaired her to the point where she just fucking lost her mind and went 100 miles per hour and crashed into a brick wall. So that's the point with that. She has shown in her videos that she is very comfortable smoking and driving. So that would not have fucked her up like that. They did do a toxicology report on her. Think wait, that's not when they're dead, right? But they did her blood work, right? And checked her blood and all that shit. And the only drug that came back in her system was the THC for weed. So there were no obviously other drugs, but what they were wondering was if there was going to be any shrooms. Mushrooms, right? Not the ones that grow in the ground, but in case you're unfamiliar, they're the psychedelic ones, the ones that take you in different places, different realms, different galaxies, just make duplicates of yourself, just crazy shit, right? Dom, uh, allegedly, I guess, he was known to keep a stash on them, and to be able to, help some friends out when needed. So the thought was potentially were there any shrooms in her system, because once the cops got her bag out of the car, she girl had some, well, not a lot of shit, but she had weed on her, she had a scale and some shrooms, and I think maybe one other thing, but like paraphernalia, like a pipe or something. But yeah, so that's why they were like, oh, maybe she was on shrooms, because I mean, if you're on shrooms, you are fucking, like I said, in another galaxy. So she could have been freaked the fuck out and thought she was like speeding off, and like maybe she was being chased or whatever. Because at first, when I saw the video, I'm like, yo, like, what the fuck is wrong with her? Like, she had to be on something, right? Like, she had to be drunk. Like, she had to, like, no right-minded person would fucking just go that crazy. And I'm gonna show you guys the video here in a second. Would just go 100 miles per hour, dead fucking straight into a brick wall. Like, if you're not on something. So then that's why I was like thinking, like, okay, maybe she was fucked up. Maybe she was on like shrooms or some shit. Like, I don't know, but she wasn't. Maria. I never tried that one. I dabbled with the E. The E. Yeah, I know the autopsy is what they do with their dead, but I was pretty confident in toxicology report, but then I was like, yeah, is that right? It's like one of those things, like when you're saying it as you're hearing it, it's like, yo, is that right? But yeah. But no, Maria, I was not living in Orlando while Casey Anthony was here, or the trial. But wild fact, fuck, I'm bringing this on the screen. I don't know if you guys have seen it. The bitch was found or spotted in a Ross store in Winter Park. Fernando, if you watch this on replay, dude, Winter Park, dude, at least for me, 13 minutes, maybe. And if it's the one that I'm thinking about, probably closer to like 11 minutes from me. Someone took a video of her and like posted it online and shit. So you guys gotta go see that. Like, she has like a short bob haircut. But yeah, so she's back in the Central Florida area, which I just think is fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. Like obviously not the balls, but like the balls on this girl to show her face in this area. Like, dude, like, you are, I hate to say it, but she is infamous. Like, if you trickle into this true crime world, like whether you were whether you're my age, like our age, whether you were born like you're 15, teenagers, whether you were born today and you're gonna be listening to shit 10 years, well, maybe not 10 years, but like 18, 20 years from now, you're going to learn of the Casey Anthony trial and the case and all that shit. That is just a whole nother clusterfuck in and of itself. But yeah, and what's also just wild, like, I don't know, like, wild. I'll just say wild, but her parents live like 22 minutes from me, and the Amscot where she abandoned her car, where it ended up getting towed from, which ended up sparking the whole, well, kind of sparking the whole thing, but her mom did, but was a big key to the puzzle, is 9 minutes from me, which is just fucking wild. It's just fucking wild. But yeah, back to the case at hand, right? Gosh, where was I now? See, you guys and me, I just fucking get sidetracked so easily. Oh yeah, but the mushrooms and all that stuff. So yeah, so she didn't have anything in her system besides weed. So then, and everyone, like both families are at this point just devastated, right? The whole backstory of the evening was her and Dom were going to, and I don't know if they went to the party with Davion or if Davion just left with them and he was already at the party. But there was a sleepover, according to Rosie. It's a sleepover. I haven't been to a sleepover since I was like 7. But I digress. But they were all having a sleepover, which is, again, just so ironic that they call it that, because 3 people did not end up sleeping over, but whatever. It's her boyfriend, I don't know, at least at the time, they may still be together. Bubba. And of course, like I said, Davion was there, maybe a few other people, and Dominic and Mackenzie show up. So there were, I guess, I don't know if there were rumors, but did they mention in the doc? I think they mentioned in the documentary that um, the idea was that Dominic was going to bring over shrooms for them, and they were all going to pretty much go for a little trip. And Dom and Mackenzie did not end up getting over there until like around midnight. So Rosie said that at that point, well, she just said they got there like around midnight, and then like the producer, whoever is running the documentary, they were like, or maybe it was, I guess, the director, but whoever's asking her the questions, they were like, so did you end up taking the mushrooms, or like, so you didn't end up taking the mushrooms or anything like that, something to that effect. And again, if it's me and I know I didn't take shrooms, and we were just talking about it, and you're asking like a clarifying question, and you're like, yo, Ash, so did you end up taking the shrooms, dude, or like, what did you do? I'd be like, nah. No, we didn't. We just didn't end up taking them. And be like, that's just it. I have no. And then, if you want to know why, you can be like, yo, why didn't you take them? And then I would be like, if I was Rosie with this answer, then that's when I would have been like, oh, it was late. It was just too fucking late. Like they're supposed to be here earlier. Like whatever time they're supposed to be there, they're supposed to be like, if it's my friend Katie, my best friend Katie, and she was supposed to be bringing me some shit, right? And if I'm Rosie, and they're like, did you take shrooms? I'm like, no. And they're like, well, why? Wasn't that the whole point? You're like, yeah, it was the whole fucking point. Like that was the idea. But Katie's ass was late. Like they didn't show up until like around midnight or after midnight or some shit. And if they were like, oh, I would tell them, but she answered in a way like she was deflecting the question, and so like she didn't really. It was just weird. She was like, it was after midnight. It was just kind of late. Like we had weed there already, so we just ended up smoking some weed, which is like, it's a very big difference between weed and shrooms, right? But again, devil's advocate, and to be fair, I definitely wouldn't have taken them shrooms either at fucking midnight, because shrooms is something that you want to take like early in the day, or at least early-ish in the like afternoon, evening-ish, unless you're bold. But generally, like, because that shit lasts for hours, like 6-8 hours type shit, so you're not really normally going to take it at midnight. So that honestly wasn't too surprising to me that they wouldn't have taken it. It was just the way she answered it. It was just like, wait, did you take it? Like, are you just like not wanting to admit that you took it, because maybe that is something that ended up fucking her up, and like led to the crash, and like, I don't know. There's probably nothing, but it was just like, yo, like, why are you being like that, yo? But yeah, so they apparently did not end up taking the shrooms. They just smoked some weed, and I don't think Dom or Davion ended up drinking. The Mackenzie definitely did end up drinking, because there's no alcohol in her system. But I think they ended up laying down, because at one point Rosie had said that one of the last things she remembers was like Mackenzie laying down and Dom was like rubbing her hair or some shit. So I'm like, okay, natural, normal, right? All cute. But for me, and okay, well, before I get to that, at around 2:30 in the morning, I believe it was, his dad, because throughout the documentary they show you body cam footage from the officers. The first officer who arrived to the scene, all the officers, well, maybe just the one officer, but like the body cam when all the other officers showed up to the crash, which is just fucking terrible, which again I'll show you here in a little bit. But yeah, just body cam throughout, which bravo, because in fucking Massachusetts, like you say body cam, they'd be like, who's that? So it's just mind blowing to me that it's not a mandatory part of your uniform. Like, we have the budget for so many different things, but some counties and cities, especially in Massachusetts, can't afford body cameras. for your officers? Like, okay. But how much are certain people making? How much is the DA's salary? Okay, whatever. Okay. I digress. But yeah, so the documentary had tons of the body cam footage, which I really loved, because it obviously like took you there, right? And it just really like smacks you in the face, like holy shit, like just the raw emotion of it, right? So the officer or one of the officers had gone to, I don't know if it was Dom's house or if it was his mom's house, but they were at one of their houses and the father ended up meeting them there. I think it was the mom's house. And they ended up meeting everyone there, and they were on like the front porch. And at one point, at one point, Dominic's father had told him that Dominic had texted him like, "I love you," like, "I love you, Dad," or "I love you," at 2:30, which I find interesting, just because Davion, per Bubba, before they were leaving, around 5:30 ish, Davion hugged Bubba and said like, "I love you," or some shit like that, like pretty much just like embracing him. And that, Hank, okay, and that was like, apparently they hadn't done that in a long time, right? And I believe Davion also texted a friend of his as well, saying "I love you, dude," or something like "I love you" to him. Like, the whole jits is between 2:30 and 5:30. The boys are in the mindset where they have to express their love to the people closest to them, right? Unless it's something you normally always do, right? Like, for like, again, me and Katie, when we hang up the phone, be like, "All right, I love you, dude. I love you," like, unless it's something normal like that, or like I'll randomly text Katie and be like, "I love you, dude," like, we're best friends. So that wouldn't be out of the norm for us. But apparently with these guys, it was. Now, it wasn't like Dom wasn't affectionate, but it was just very random for him to text his dad at 2:30 saying, "I love you." It's just very interesting to me, and something that stood out, that, again, both guys felt the need to express that between the hours of 2:30 and we'll call it 5:30, right before the crash. So something had to have happened right at that party to make them want to leave, because why do you get there at around midnight, maybe a little after midnight, maybe a little before or whatever, for a sleepover? Okay, a sleepover, what they are literally calling it. You stay a couple hours and then you leave, especially like so late. Like, why would you leave, or early, depending on how you look at it? Like, why would you leave? I'm not gonna leave. I'm just gonna use Katie's gonna be my guinea pig. I am not gonna leave. And I've been in this exact situation myself multiple times, where especially like in a really shitty relationship years ago, I would drive over to Katie's house. It was a fucking 2-hour drive, because I lived in Richmond. She was in like Chesapeake at the time, back in Virginia. And I would drive, it was like an hour and 45 minutes to her house. I would get there maybe sometimes 10, 11, sometimes 12, 1. And I would just be there, right? But I would be there for the whole night. Or before then, like when we were still in high school or whatever, like I would drive over there dumb hours, right? And vice versa. And we, like, even if we're just dropping something off, right? Or whatever, we're gonna stay. Like, I'm not gonna wake up at 5 completely fine, right? Like, no prior issues, no nothing. And be like, "Yeah, I'm just ready to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm gonna go home." Like, and like I'm taking, like, not only like am I going home, but like Dom's coming with me, Davion's coming. Like, no, like, why? Like, that's just so, unless someone had work the next day, like, no, like that was not part of like that wouldn't even make sense either, because like their whole plan was going over there for a sleepover. So if you have to work the next day, like, why would you be going over for a sleepover, especially when the original plan was to take shrooms? So like the shit just doesn't add up to me. So I think something happened between those hours, and Rosie and Bubba are not telling us, and because according to them in the documentary, everything was fine. No arguments. Again, Dom and Mackenzie were like laying down and he was rubbing her hair or whatever. And then they end up leaving around again 5:30 or whatever it was. So that's just so weird to me, man. That's just so you don't just up and leave for no reason. You just don't. But again, moving on. For whatever reason, they leave, and I'll start bringing up the video. She is driving. Gosh, I think they said it was a Camry. All right, let me move this. All right, cool. Move that over here. All right, I'm just bringing up this screen. And this is going to show you, this is courtesy of Core TV. Shout out to Core TV. This is the moments leading up to the crash. So again, okay, so yeah, it's like so it's July 31st of 2022. It's 5:34 a.m. No one on the streets at all. Very clear video. So the first couple seconds is going to show her making a right-hand turn onto, I believe they said it was Prospect, either Prospect or Progress Street, one of those. But down this street, which fucking is like a straight shot, y'all, for like, I think they said it was like 0.5 miles. There's one point towards the end, right before they end up crashing, where it's like a slight curve. And then, yeah, so that's apparently when the data that they get from the black box, the EDR box, shows that there was some slight steering movement, and then, which I'll get to in a second. But other than that, it's a fucking straight shot, which again, just it doesn't make sense. So I'm gonna share it here with you guys. Oh, I forgot to upload the other one. No, that's okay. All right, cool. All right. Vistaprint. All right, so this is the. I wish I could move myself. Dang. Hold on, I'm gonna bring that back up. All right, so this is the video where Mackenzie is starting to, well, about to drive down the street. Okay, so it starts off where you'll see here in a second. She is driving straight. You can't see my mouse, but she is driving. Oh yeah, there we go. Straight down the street. This car right here is going to be her. Ah, come back. Fucking ad. And she is going to be making a right-hand turn onto Progress, Process, whatever street. And you will see the next clip will be just the car fucking speeding up and just crashing into the wall. Again, trigger warning because it is terrifying, you know, like, well, I'm going to get into my thoughts, you know, we'll have to rewatch it here, but it's just wild to think what the guys went through the last few seconds of their life. Let me see if I can make this full screen. There we go. I'll take the comments away here for a second. All right, so I'm going to play it here. I'm gonna play it once or a few times maybe. Let me know if you can hear the audio. And yeah.
Crash. First, you can
You
see
really
the
don't need
car
to hear the
making a
audio.
normal
It's
right-hand
more of just the
turn here.
visual. So as you can see,
Okay,
she's making her
everything's
turn.
normal. Then
And again, guys, so the whole start of this that I think is pretty interesting is the fact that just move my screens. The turn that she's making, the right-hand turn, is like a fucking textbook turn. Why would you like if you're taking a driver's ed test, this is the exact turn that you would want to make, right? So it's just kind of wild to me that she goes from this to fucking hauling ass into the wall, right? So continuing on. They're gonna and again, this is Vinnie Politan, Court TV, shout out to all of them, right? So again,
inside the car,
this is her.
she decides she is going to
making a beautiful turn, even
life.
has her fucking turn signal on, guys.
Let's watch.
Watch it. Stays in her lane. Okay. Now, I'm gonna pause it here in a second. Can you guys hear the audio? Alright. Can you guys hear the audio? I don't know if you can hear it. Yeah, okay, I think you can. Okay. So, again, you just saw her making the first turn. Fucking beautiful, right? She could teach driver's ed at that point. So, she's making her turn. Now, in a second, you are going to see right here the lights that just started to appear right here. She is going to be in this lane, okay? Again, perfect lane. Like, she's driving she's not swerving, she's not in the wrong lane, she's not veering one way or another. Homegirl is fucking dead set. You would think she's on a train track just hauling ass, you know what I mean? So, and again, the audio, and that's why I wanted to make sure you can at least hear this part. It sounds like a fucking torpedo. And that's why when I was saying earlier that her father, Mackenzie's father, is fucking tone deaf. Because why the fuck would you wear a shirt that says boom when your daughter killed 2 human beings? Whether she did it on purpose or not, the fact is she was driving the vehicle that killed them. Point blank. So why the fuck would you wear a shirt that says boom? Like, just how tone deaf are you, my guy? But again, I just wanted to set the scene a little bit more. So be on the lookout for her because it happens very fast, right? She's literally going, she reaches 100 miles per hour. The EDR, the electronic box, the black box, essentially, that's like the black, it's like the heart, the memory of every vehicle. It records the last 5 seconds of her driving right before the impact. The accelerator is pushed all the way down to the ground. All the way down. There is no let up on it. There is no attempt at braking. There is no use of a parking, like emergency parking brake. There is one slight little turn of the steering wheel, which we'll get to in a second. And, well, I guess it would be technically like 2 gear shifts. She obviously is in drive. Right before the impact, it goes from drive to neutral, back to drive. Okay. And then bam. But at no point were any brakes applied, nor was the gas let up on. So there's that. And then last point, really quick, and then I'll let the video play. Right here, this white looks like a little rectangle right here. That is a sign. So that is the first thing that their vehicle strikes before hitting the wall, the brick wall, which is back here. You can't see the brick wall in this shot, but what you will see is in like a split second, like immediately after the impact, you'll see like a brightness right here, which is like just the car just fucking exploding. So there's that. And last thing, I promise, this is almost like a T intersection, so should be going straight, and then she should either be making a left or a right turn, but homegirl does neither. So here we go. Hey Nick, what up? What up? This is we are discussing the documentary The Crash on Netflix. Nothing wrestling related. I just wanted to stream on both channels to make sure everything was good because I had some issues with the new one that I made. But yeah, man, just talking about the documentary The Crash with Mackenzie, Shirilla and all that bullshit, and yeah, hanging out, man. So yeah, I'm gonna play it, guys, and we'll play it through a couple times. But here we go. It's fucking terrifying.
She did that on.
Okay. Again, like I said, it happened super quick. I'm gonna take it back all the way. I think it was at 110. There we go.
First, you can see the car making a normal right-hand turn here.
Shout out Vinny Politan.
Okay, everything's normal. Then inside the car, she decides she is going to end everyone's life.
Like the fucking I'm sorry guys. The fucking turn signal just blows me, bro. Blows me. Like the fact she I don't know. Like we'll get into, like her defense and everything like that, but it just fucking blows me, bro. It's like almost like the audacity. Almost like the audacity of you to use your fucking blinker with what you're about to do. So but yeah, I'm gonna take it back again and let it play through and not speak over it this time. So you guys can get a full shot of it. Here we go.
First, you can see the car making a normal right-hand turn here. Okay, everything's normal. Then inside the car, she decides she is going to end everyone's life. Let's watch. She did it.
Like, bro, like what? So this is one more time, because it's fucking absurd that these boys lost their life like this. Like, I can't fucking get over, dude. But this is what, now, guys, if you haven't seen the aftermath of the car, okay, so really quick, I am a auto appraiser in my everyday life. I'm not gonna say where, but I work with vehicles, right? I write estimates for vehicles and car crashes, vehicle theft, vandalism, crazy shit, right? Not too crazy. There's a separate department for that, but pretty interesting shit, right? So I've seen, and we were just at the tow yard yesterday, actually. We see some fucking wild shit, right? And dealing with this type of shit in this type of field, you hear some pretty sad stuff, right? This vehicle, I don't know how this girl survived. So I'm going to show you guys. One second here. Look at this shit, guys. Look at the fucking car. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah. Look at her car. What is left of the car. Like, if I can pull up the actual, I'm going to see if I can pull up the body cam of the first officer that responded, because his body cam footage shows him walking up just the realization setting in, him seeing Mackenzie, and then just him realizing like, oh my god, there's a passenger, and then oh my god, there's another one. Like it's just wild, bro. But this is like, this is her impact bar right here. That's supposed to be flat right here. Like this is it's just her wheel and tire are all the way over here. This area right here, guys, like this is where Dominic is supposed to be. Is sitting at right here. The dashboard, the firewall, depending on whatever you want to call it, is so pushed in. There's hardly nothing left of the front end of the vehicle. Like that shit is almost just gone. Just gone. There's I think other pictures too that show the inside. It's just I can't believe it, you. I wonder if this is the video. Hold on here. This actually might be the body cam video. That'd be dope. If it's not the one, this is at least one of.
Ain't no harm in one.
Oh, there's a ad really quick, so I'll let that play. But yeah, like to think that she survived. I mean, I don't wish death on anybody, but like she's just so blessed. Like I don't think she realizes how lucky she is to have survived that shit. Let me see which one just came on.
And the arrest of Mackenzie Shirilla, the now 20-year-old. Medics rushed driver Mackenzie Shirilla to the hospital. Her boyfriend, 20.
Let's see what they get to. Okay, so this is actually. Okay, well, I'll show you guys that one in a second. It actually has a few good clips in it. But she obviously gets taken to the hospital. Is this it? She ends up, I mean, I forget, like, I think she, like, I don't know, she plucked up her leg, like, but just the fact, like, I think her spleen or some shit, just the fact that she survived and doesn't have permanent, like, she's not paralyzed or permanent injuries, like, nothing had to get amputated. It's just fucking people. I've seen people in way less accidents have so much worse damage and, like, so much worse injuries, right? And again, not wishing anything on her. It's just, like, fucking wild. That she ended up getting out of it how she did. So I'm trying to see if this is the video. Oh, it's just a picture. All right, I'm just gonna close out that one. But yeah, so oh, I keep thinking I'm finding it. I might be able to show this one. Hey. Yeah, so I'll show this one really quick. Alright, cool. This is from. This isn't the exact one that I was thinking of, or not thinking of, but trying to find, but we'll still show it. All right, so I'll go back real quick.
Log a front seat.
So you can see all the debris they're taking.
How old is he?
Copy, 19-year-old male, valid enough.
Okay.
That was, I think, Davion.
What's that there?
Do you want me to keep any IDs or is that?
They want it. They want for life flight. Where's the drugs? Take them out. Put your gloves on, take them out. Lots of cash. I think they all had a ton of cash.
Rita said that the driver had mushrooms on her.
And a scale.
Open up that portion and just come down here
She had the shrooms and the
and
scale.
provide the wrong box in that whole area.
We need to get IDs in all of these people.
This was the first part of it.
Okay. Any wallet on him, fellas?
Yes, something in a right pocket.
I'm gonna grab it. Once you guys wanna grab it. This is it? This is it?
That was in his.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you bring that to our medic when you're done?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'll give you the. Where was he sitting? Where was he at? Was he in the front or rear?
He was in the front.
All right. 5-7 radio.
Oh, so that would have been Dominic then. Dominic was in the
Log,
front,
the front
passenger seat.
They should have covered the car.
How old is he?
Copy 19-year-old male, valid.
Okay. What's that there?
Do you want to keep any IDs or is that?
They want it. They want for life flight.
All right, and then this one is a news report. 1 second. This has the body and dash cam. Yeah. Okay, cool. Where's the volume?
Obtained body cam video, which sheds some light on the crash, the investigation, and the arrest of Mackenzie Shirilla. The now 20-year-old is serving a 15-year life sentence after she was found guilty of killing her boyfriend and friend in a crash in 2022.
Strongsville police found the devastating scene in July 2022. 3 unresponsive people trapped inside a mangled Toyota Camry. Medics rushed driver Mackenzie Shirilla to the hospital. Her boyfriend, 20-year-old Dominic Russo, and friend, 19-year-old Davion Flanagan, died at the scene. In the weeks and months.
So that shows, so this was what I was talking about earlier, her paraphernalia, right? Which is the whole point of them going over there. And again, like, to be fair, it was said that she, that Dom was the one who was, intending to share. But she was the one who would always carry it, which makes total sense because, again, guys normally don't have bags with them, right? Like, they have pant pockets and that's it. So your girl is normally going to be carrying shit for you, right? So that's not really, whatever. So they ended up finding the shrooms in her bag, the scale, weed, and I think maybe one other thing. But this is her bag and the shit that they're going through now.
Onset followed. Police determined this was no accident.
We feel like Davion was just a victim of it.
Friends of Dominic and Davion came to police to share information from Life 360, a location sharing app that showed Shirilla was flying toward the building at over 90 miles an hour.
There was no hard braking until, it'll show you when they hard brake, and that was when they hit the wall.
Describe the relationship.
Detectives interviewed.
And that's very important because, so if you guys aren't familiar with Life 360, it's an app that pretty much tracks you. A lot of parents use it to track their kids and to keep tabs on their kids. It updates you, I think even as specifically regarding if they're speeding or just every little thing, right? And what I think is cool is these kids thought, or these teenagers, whatever, thought that they should be sharing locations with themselves, right, with each other. And I just thought it was cool that they cared enough, first of all, to share their location with each other, and to track, and to keep tabs on everyone. So yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool. And that was what the 2 other boys in the clip prior, they were bringing in their phone to show their Life 360 data to the police officer and to just pretty much tell them that Davion was on his phone literally the minute before the crash. So he was on his phone at 5:35 a.m. The crash occurred at 5:36. So they were awake, right? So because there was maybe a hope of, maybe they were asleep and they didn't know, because when you sit there and think about God, how terrifying the last 3, 4, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, however long, once they, because like I said, her making the turn on that right hand turn, perfect turn. So going 100 miles, well, approaching and leading up to 100 miles per hour and 0.5 worth of mileage of road to gain speed. You're talking, what, 15 seconds, maybe? I don't know. So whatever the time frame is, just to think that was their last image in feeling is just heartbreaking.
Several people, including Shirilla's ex-boyfriend.
10th grade. And that's kind of when like all of us stopped being friends with just her. We were all cool with her still. Just because she's so like crazy, she'll blow everyone's phone up.
Hi, Mackenzie. Step out for me.
Months after the crash that took so much from so many.
You're under arrest for aggravated murder ×2. Okay. Nobody's gonna ask you any questions. Nobody's gonna bother you.
Police had their case.
Could you please be careful taking this one off so it doesn't break the bracelet?
You got it. You got it.
Handcuffs replaced jewelry as Shirilla was ultimately tried, convicted, and sentenced for murder over the next couple years.
Shirilla appealed her conviction, but in September, the 8th District Court of Appeals upheld that conviction, pointing to her relationship with Dominic and evidence that she didn't let off the gas or brake before impact.
Ain't no harm in wandering.
Well, where am I? Oh, there I am. So yeah, so that is the whole point and the whole, oh shit. That's the whole thing that, the question that you have, Rude Dog, I believe it was you. Let me pull it back up. Yeah, Rude Dog, there it was. So you said one thing I missed is why was she trying to kill these people on purpose? That's a very good question, because that is a very important thing when you are charging someone with murder, right? You have to have intent. So I wonder if I can find that video clip too. The prosecution's whole case against her is, I can close out of that now. They had a track record, a history of fighting, breaking up, fighting. Not only that, because that's pretty typical, right? Especially with, young people, whatever. But there was video or specifically audio of her just berating him and kind of threatening him. There was one, which I'm going to see if I can find. He had locked her out of the house that they lived in, and because he was about to go, or maybe not even locked him out, maybe she was gone prior. I don't know exactly how she got out there to begin with, but she was on the outside of the door. He was inside of his place. He was about to go get lunch with his grandma, I believe, and she was just insisting and demanding that she was going to come in and that he wasn't going to be going to lunch. Just verbally abusive, right? I don't know if everything or anything ever physical, but she was just one of those girls, in my opinion, that knew exactly what buttons to press and just to fucking nag, bro. And just to think it's all about her, right? Now, to be fair, apparently early on in their relationship, one of her friends who did make an appearance in the documentary had said that he had cheated on her early on in their relationship, and apparently she just could never get over it. She would bring it up constantly and kind of throw it in his face. She would send text messages about it like you cheated on me, or something, just never letting it go. And to me, absolutely, you have every right to feel hurt, whatever. But if you are agreeing to try to put it in the past and to continue on with the relationship and move forward, don't keep fucking bringing it up. If you can't move on from it emotionally, or if you can't have him going to the gas station or going out with his friends and being concerned that he's cheating on you or whatever, or you feel like you need to go through the phone or whatever, and vice versa, right? It doesn't matter what side you're on. It's a problem. And you're just going to make your life fucking miserable for the both of you. So, again, obviously he shouldn't have cheated on her. Not like we know what the story behind that was, but that's what her friend said. and she just could not get past it. Now, not saying that was a motive to kill him, right? Or to do something like this, but about 2 weeks prior, there was a situation where they were on the interstate, and now the original story was that she was driving and she was pretty much like threatening like to like crash, I think, or like she was speeding and acting crazy in the car, and he wanted to get out of the car, and she wouldn't let him. And then she ended up texting. So I think Dom had like reached out to his mom, or and his mom sent over their friend Hinch or something to that effect. But then she had ended up texting Dominic's mom and saying pretty much like that it was the exact opposite, right? So there was a history of her wanting or her lashing out and her driving erratically. So that, along with the fact that Dom, according to his brother Angelo and a couple, like maybe one other person or something, Dom was wanting to leave, and Dom was wanting to break up with her, and had tried to in the past, but again, they ended up getting back together, but he was really on the verge of ending things, and she wasn't gonna let him. She wasn't gonna let him leave. Like, she had told his family, like, I'm not gonna let him go. Like, just one of those, like, almost like if I can't have you, no one will type shit. But she, to me, I'll say my thought for a second. My opinion on like whether she did it on purpose or not. But there is another point in a factor where she, per her mom, she was diagnosed with POTS 14 early, or at least prior, right? There was one source that said like when she was 14, but then there were some people who even said like it wasn't like a documented thing. However, regardless, if it was documented prior, the defense did not bring in a doctor during the trial to testify on her behalf on the effects of POTS. So POTS essentially, it fucks you up if like mainly if you're for instance, like going from sitting down to standing up. If you're like bending over, you can feel very dizzy, lightheaded, like almost like blackout, or maybe even blackout for a split second, right? So she was diagnosed with that. We're just gonna go like 14, right? Or at least prior, right? And her mom, we'll just stick with her mom. Her mom is pushing that the POTS diagnosis was something that led to, or is what caused the crash. That she blacked out. Her foot was just stuck on the pedal, which is why it was just like forced down. And she has no recollection of what happened. So that is what Mackenzie's side is as well. She says the last thing she remembers is making that right hand turn. And next thing she knows, she woke up the next day in a hospital bed. Very convenient, right? I will say, though, it's not too out of the question for me, especially when you go through a traumatic event period, right? Like, your brain like acts as like a coping mechanism, right? Like, it tries to like protect itself, right? Like your body, like it tries to like, like you try to like black out, bad word, but you try to like, like block out different thoughts and like different stressors or different things that could hurt you, right? Or just like hard memories and stuff like that, right? So, and like compartmentalize things. So, and dude, when I fucking played sports, I got it was soccer practice one day, and I don't even remember what happened prior, but I was walking up, and like I was like one of the defenders for the goalie, and I turned around, and right as I was turning around to face the goalie, I fucking got whammed in the head with the ball. Like, just fucking, I went down. I could not tell you. The last thing I remember is just standing there and starting to like turn around. And then the next thing I knew, I was just like laying on the bleacher and was just like where am I? Like I didn't even remember at first like what I was like. I was at soccer practice. Like I didn't know like what day it was. I was just fucking like wonky. Like I like who, what, where, and why type of thing. And like I don't even remember seeing the ball hit me or anything like that. I just know because what people told me, right? And obviously something fucking made me black out. But so I get it, right? That traumatic impact. I don't know if there was any record that she hit her head or anything, but regardless, like she was in a traumatic experience, so it is possible that she really doesn't remember. But the thing with passing out, right? And if it was the pots that really fucked her up and made her black out, again, like I said, normally that's when you're going from a sitting to a standing, or if you're standing and bend over. Obviously, you're not doing any of that while you're in a car. Devil's advocate, maybe she dropped something. Maybe she dropped her phone. Maybe she dropped her phone on the floor and she reached down to get it. And that motion, when she reached down to get it and then leaned back up, it fucked her up. And she got startled and just like fucking reaction, just pushed hard on the gas, right? And then maybe she was very disoriented. Again, when you are accelerating and you end up reaching 100 miles per hour, you're fucking like hauling ass, right? Like you're just going, right? Like it takes a matter of seconds to crash. So, okay, maybe. And there was a slipper that they found, her slipper, that was wedged on the gas pedal. It was like a white slipper, didn't even have a backing. It was just one of those, almost like a flip-flop type of slipper. No opening in the front, it was closed, but I don't even, maybe it was like a bunion, whatever, but it was white. The slipper, again, was on the gas pedal. And then, of course, obviously she crashed. So there was debris, the floor mat and other things pushed up against the slipper, which like wedged it there. Some people were thinking, well, maybe her slipper, maybe that's what caused it, right? Like maybe her slipper got wedged prior and she couldn't get it unstuck. And that's why they ended up crashing. Okay, so those are pretty much the most common theories that I've seen, like defending her, to where like she has no knowledge or whatever, or she didn't do it intentionally. My opinion, not allegedly my opinion, but it's my opinion, and this is just a hypothetical story, but my thoughts are this girl, I don't want to say thrived, but loved being the center of attention. She appeared to be one of those like over dramatic people, like, oh, we're gonna break up, like, like I'm just gonna leave you, I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. So you're like, all right, like it's not that serious, Kenzie, it's fine, like whatever, like I'm not really that mad at you, like I'm sorry, like that type of thing. I'm not saying Dominic never did anything wrong, because there's, again, two sides, right? But from what we've seen, it's pretty much her as the aggressor, or her at least as the hyperactive one, we'll say. Because I'm pretty certain her defense team, or at least, well, she didn't really have a full attorney, would go through her records, right? Because obviously her phone records were pulled, which is how we have her text, like their text threads. But I'm sure if she would have recorded any confrontation her and Dom had of him yelling at her, and I think there is one where he was yelling at her, but it was nothing threatening, and I don't remember the full context of it, so maybe he did, but the one that he recorded specifically of her when she was at his apartment, technically their place, right? But just like berating him to open the door is just mind-blowing. So, and more eye-opening rather, to what type of dynamic they had. And it's almost like since he cheated on her, he owed her for life type of shit. You know what I mean? Oh, I can't spell. All right, let's see. So people are outraged, right? So after she got arrested, the like some clothing brand or some popular brand reached out to her and like commented on her Instagram, and her mom ended up responding saying like, "Oh yeah, she would love an opportunity. She's reached out to you guys. You know, thank you." Like just very again tone deaf. It almost doesn't feel like serious enough or heavy enough, but like their family like just tone deaf to the T. Yeah, so like I'm trying to find the video, but apparently there were text messages like of her threatening to stab him in the eye. Just like all this just like crazy shit. Like literally just crazy shit. And so yeah, so here around 5 months before Shirilla crashed her car into a brick wall and obviously killed Russo and Flanagan, Russo warned her that she was driving like a maniac. This was text messages. He said, "And Kinsey, you drive like a maniac every day." He said that on February 28th, which was about like again 5 months prior. There was another argument in March of that year where he claimed that he started to film her after she started speeding, whipping turns like a maniac. And he said, "I told you to stop the car and I tried to get out and you started driving like a maniac. I thought if I opened it, you stopped the car." And Shirilla wrote that Russo was driving like a psychopath in December of 2021. So again, it's just like they just say they just go back and forth, right? And just a few weeks before his death, Russo, again Dom, tried to break up with Mackenzie and told her that he didn't think that they were going to work out. He said he didn't think that we were going to be able to work this out. He said, "Kinsey, you said mean things to me and I felt unappreciated and mad. Meanwhile," she wrote in return, "you say mean things to me all the time. You never give me love. You never give me empathy, whatever." And it's just like, okay, then just break the fuck up. Just break the fuck up. Like, okay. It's just so wild. And so in March, Shirilla they both brought up blackmailing the other using videos and allegations. She said, "Keep trying to blackmail me. You know I can blackmail you 30 times harder." And he goes, "You blackmail me every week." And then he wrote in February, "Kinsey, you are threatening to ruin my life. Like you're trying to extort me. Like what the fuck?" Ugh. All right, and so on July 17th, and again, the crash was on the 31st, Shirilla alleged that Russo tried to kill her by driving her off the highway. "The fact that my boyfriend of 4 years," okay, so answer a question from earlier, "just tried to end my life by steering me off the highway. That's how I know you're not in love, and you never were somebody who loves me, or you never were someone who loves me would never do this to me." And he just denied it by saying, "Really didn't." She goes, "The only reason it went this far is because you tried to end my life." And he says that, "Kinsey, I didn't, blah, blah, blah." And she says she was nervous driving in the rain. Okay, then don't drive, girl. I wanted the video of it. But yeah, so she was threatening to break his shit if he didn't let her in. And just being just fucking just so extra and just I don't want to call it crazy because you shouldn't really call females crazy, right? But it's just, what are you doing? Like, just fucking leave. But I digress. But yeah, so My thought is they got into a fight, which is why they ended up leaving the sleepover, okay? Davion was living with them at the time, staying with them for at least a week or a couple weeks at that point. He ended up just wanting to go home, obviously not knowing what kind of psycho bitch she was about to be. They would end up leaving again like around 5. The footage showed her making that turn around 5:34. And again, lines up with Davion being on his phone at 5:35 and then the crash occurring at 5:36. I think they got into an argument. She's like, I'm leaving. We're fucking leaving. Let's go. They all end up leaving, getting in the car. They're probably fighting, right? In the car, saying God knows what. She is over it. She probably has had a long night. Not even on anything, right? Just fucking heated, had a long night, whatever. They're arguing about, again, God knows what. And she defaults to scare tactics, right? She defaults to what she has done, apparently, in the past. Driving like a fucking maniac, trying to scare him, and trying to control the situation and like control the relationship almost by fear, right? So I think it's because it's so telling. Again, once she made that right turn, and because also they had evidence where she had pretty much like scoped out that area. Gosh, was it a day or a couple days prior or a week prior? Very recently prior to the accident, that she at least, and we call it scope in hindsight, right? But she at least drove down that area very, very recently. So she knew the layout, okay? And she knew it was a straight shot, pretty quiet area, especially at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, right? So knowing it's a straight shot, she is over it, and she's like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, and her little mind just snaps, and she is just hauling ass. She's speeding to scare him. And again, it's not that, like, yes, like 0.5 is a decent amount of space, like 0.5 miles wise. But when you're going and you're accelerating and increasing and going faster and faster and faster, that distance is shrinking and you're losing precious moments to make any type of correction, right? So she's speeding and speeding and speeding. At first, Dominic is probably like right when she makes that turn and she's probably starting to speed up. He's probably like, what the fuck, Kinsey? Like, stop acting like this. Like just stop. Like, like saying whatever, like just probably telling her to stop. She's continuing to haul ass on the pedal, right? Just keeping it pressed down. At that point, Davion is on his phone, right? 5:35. He's probably like, what the fuck is happening? They're getting closer and closer to the end of that road, right? Because again, she's going faster, faster, faster. That distance is running out. Again, earlier, they had record of, or we mentioned earlier, that they had record from the black box showing the last 5 seconds that the pedal was pushed all the way down on the floor. There was one instance where the gear shift went from obviously drive to neutral and then went back to drive. I don't recall if it went maybe one more up, but I know it definitely went from drive to neutral and then back into drive. And at one point, like I said, there was like a curve, like a small curve on the road, but there was some movement in the steering wheel. But other than that, it just, again, went straight, hit the sign, and smacked into the wall, the brick wall. I think what happened, again, started on that road, starting to push down the pedal. Dominic's like, what the fuck, Kinsey? Let up. Like, stop this. Like, stop. You're acting crazy. Just stop. Davion is starting to, like, realize what the fuck's happening. He's on his phone. She's like, fuck you, Dom. Like, no, fuck you. Like, you're not going to leave me. Like, I'm done with your shit. Like, whatever. Just saying whatever. Davion then reaches forward to, and I'll explain this why in a second, but I believe Davion was trying to reach forward and either grab the steering wheel or whatever, just something to help save the situation, right? And I think the boys, one of the two boys either grabbed one of the two things, right? I think one of them had something to do with the gear shift going from drive to neutral back to drive. And then the other one had something to do with pushing or like bumping into the steering wheel. I think maybe the bumping of the steering wheel could have been Davion like leaning from the back seat forward, because when the cops and the medics and everyone got there, Davion was not only, obviously did he not have his seatbelt on at that point, but he was between the driver and the passenger seat. He was almost like essentially in Dom's lap. Okay, like forward. Dom was like almost like crushed onto him. And then Mackenzie from the driver's seat, her legs were pinned underneath the dash, and then her upper torso was damn near underneath the dash on the other side. So to me, with Davion being in Dom's lap, if you're just sitting in the back seat behind either one of the seats, we'll start with, I wouldn't expect a big guy like Davion to be able to have the space to have his whole body go over top of the seat, right? Nor would I expect it to be able to wedge through and fucking then curve and then land on Dom. If he's sitting in the same thing, if you're sitting directly behind the driver's seat. If he's sitting in the middle seat, okay, maybe the impact, again, especially how fast, would propel him forward, directly forward, right? Like maybe, okay, again, he's a big dude, right? Like he was very much like, he was a football player, right? His broad shoulders, I'm sure, would like fucking get crammed and there would be some type of distortion, but maybe that would even keep him in the back seat, or maybe he would be more curled up and maybe like the lower portion of his body would be twisted. I just, again, wouldn't expect him to be between the seats and then like halfway in Dom's lap. And I'm no expert, right? I just necessarily wouldn't expect that. So what I think is Davion was trying to reach for it. Maybe he was like, when he was trying to reach, he was the one who bumped into maybe Mackenzie's arm, which is what knocked the steering wheel. I think Dominic was trying to put the bitch in park and just trying to do anything he can to fucking stop the car, right? And Mackenzie was just keeping her foot on the gas pedal. But at this point, she's literally losing control, because she was most likely not expecting Davion to fucking like get terrified, right? And freak out. Because sad to say, her and Dom are used to this crazy shit, right? Like he's used to her driving like a maniac and whatever. Even vice versa. Maybe he would do the same shit to her. Not excusing it, but it's a possibility, right? Davion probably like reached for it, and then she's probably like, what, like get back the fuck off, or like stop, and then she's freaking out, panicking, losing control. Dom is trying to stop the car and gain control. They just lose time again. 0.5, 100 miles per hour. Hit the sign. The only thing left is the brick wall. Now, I say she would have, to me, there's no way she would not have any memory of what happened. Or, I'm not going to say that. So, I take that part back. To me, the whole intent thing, I don't think she necessarily went out there with the thought to, or the intention to kill either of them, especially Davion, right? Because like, why, right? But nor Dom. I do think though she went out there and even in that split second after, like even during that drive, that thought came across her mind where she was gonna fucking scare them and freak Dom out, right? Because that's what they've done in the past. Or she was just done, right? And she was just fucking speeding off and what she has been known to do prior. This time, though, someone else was in the car, freaked out because this isn't normal behavior, right? They just ran out of time. And she just, between getting startled probably by Davion's reaction to her being fucking crazy bitch, and Dom trying to save the situation, it just ended up being too late, you know? Because to me, if she were to pass out with the pots, right? If she were to black out from the pots, normally you would think that your foot would let up from the gas, first of all. Even if it didn't, right? At some point, Dom and Davion are going to realize that she's not conscious, first of all. Most likely Dom, right? Because he's sitting right beside her. Or, more importantly, that bitch is going to start veering. That car is going to veer off of the road. It's going to strike something. It is not going to stay in a straight path. That car didn't even veer towards the left lane, dude. It stayed on the road the entire time. If you're blacked out, there's no way it's going to do that. There's no way. I'll maybe give you, maybe your foot won't let out, but that's still far-fetched to me. But I can't give you that there's going to be no change in movement of the steering wheel until something so minute at the last split second, and you're going to make it down a straight path for a 0.5 mile. I don't see it. I don't see that, dude. And I would love to be wrong. Like, I would love to see something proving else, like, otherwise. So there's that. But then two, I don't think she wanted, again, to necessarily kill either of them, and nor do I think that it was like a murder-suicide thing that some people, like, one of the possibilities. I don't think that. I don't think, because, like, one of her friends said, she loved herself. This girl was fucking obsessed with herself. She was all about Mackenzie. The last thing Mackenzie would want to do is not have a Mackenzie, no longer be in existence, right? It's probably eating her up that she can't be taking videos and shit like that in prison. So she is just one of those girls, like, that just does not strike me as being suicidal. And that's something that you, like, is very serious as well, and that you shouldn't take lightly. But again, and as I'm saying that, I could be very wrong, because I don't know this girl. I just know very limited edited information, right? And to be fair, like, there's been plenty of famous actors, like Robin Williams is the one that always comes to mind. Fucking hilarious dude, right? Brilliant actor, just one of the all-time greats. And look what ended up happening, you know? Sure, there may have been signs, right? And I don't know if there were signs that she was threatening to kill herself. There was, like, I'm gonna kill you type thing. Like, that's what she said. Mackenzie said, not me. In her text messages. But I don't think she would be that type to, like, actually, like, go forward with it. I think she was literally pissed off, trying to scare him like she has done before. She lost control because Davion was probably like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bitch? And trying to, like, pretty much take the car out of her control. Ran out of time, and next thing you know, they're hitting the sign, and, that, and I don't want to say that's that, but here we are. But yeah, so that's why I think murder, honestly, like, a charge of murder, I thought that was kind of strong. It was like a very heavy, obviously heavy charge, right? I think with a better lawyer, defensive lawyer, maybe she could have gotten off. Maybe not off, but she may have had a better chance. Because one, her defense attorney didn't bring any doctor in to even discuss the whole POTS thing, whether it's true or not. Like, whether you believe it or not, it's still a thing. And it's a possibility of reasonable doubt. And that's all you need. Just a slimmer of that possibility, right? Two, I don't think, because in Ohio, you have the option, if you are the defendant, if you want a bench trial or a jury trial. Now, if you are going to do a bench trial, it is what it is. Like, it's self-explanatory. It's just you, like, both teams prosecution, defense presenting their case, and the judge is the sole bearer, right? Like he or she, in this case she, is the one who is going to obviously make the verdict and do the sentencing as well. Again, the other one is the jury trial. Self-explanatory, right? You're judged in front of a group of your peers, which to me, in this situation, I mean, there's a good amount of cases where a bench trial may be the better option. To me, I think the jury trial would have been so much better because 12 people, right? I fully believe they could have found at least one person on that jury to look at her and be like, I mean, did she really like want to kill him? Like I don't know. Like it could have really just been or maybe like me. Maybe there could have been someone like me, like, yo, maybe she was trying to scare him, but she wasn't going out there to like literally kill him. She was just trying to like freak him out and and go home, go from there, So yeah, I just think the jury trial would have been the better bet because it's much easier to convince at least 1 out of 12 that you're not some psycho bitch than just one person. Especially a judge because they see this shit daily. This is just like a regular day in their life. They are not going to have as much compassion as you're just everyday person because they know the law, they know more probability, they know just more likelihood, like they're just more informed, right? They're fucking judge. They should be. So I think, at least in regards to her trial, I think the worst idea or the worst decision rather was the bench trial. Just my opinion. Again, I'm obviously no lawyer. I ain't past the bar, but I know a little bit, Shout out Jay-Z. But yeah, I think that they should have at least gone for a jury trial. I don't think her attorney has done any interviews, and I thought it was very interesting that he wasn't involved in the Netflix documentary. I don't think that they put any blurb that, which like a standard, which what they do, right? Like, oh, Netflix reached out to the defense attorney so-and-so, but he declined to comment, right? I don't remember seeing anything like that, but I just think it's weird that he wouldn't want to explain his mindset and like his tactics and why he presented and defended his client the way he did without going forward with a jury trial. Like I would love to know like why that was the decision. And her mom, in some interview, she had said that, and she was so contradictory because at first she had said like, oh, like it was pretty much like forced, like she felt scared and like almost not threatened, but like she was just, really intimidated. She's just a small girl. And, her attorney was leaning more towards the bench trial and it was telling her it was a better idea. And so she was just like, okay, oh, I mean, okay. And then it was a version of, oh, like she didn't really have a choice at all. And it's just like, motherfucker, okay, like, you are the one on trial. You are the one who's going to be spending the rest, well, maybe not even the rest, but time in jail. If you don't want something to happen, and that is your right to choose A or B, and your attorney is forcing you to choose A, you fucking say something. You say something right then and there. Like, yes, you're big and bad, right? Like on TikTok and stuff like that, but when you get in the real situation, you're maybe not as strong, right? With like keyboard warriors type shit. But motherfucker, if maybe I'm a prime example. I am not a confrontational person. I have never been in a physical fight. I don't even really know how to throw a punch. You know what I mean? I can run. I'm not really good at punching. If my life is on the line, like my freedom is on the line, you bet your ass I am speaking up and I am voicing, hey, I don't want a bench trial. I want a jury of my peers to judge me. Like, I'm sorry. And I'm gonna look because there's a channel that I follow, Defense Diaries. Shout out to them, they're fucking great. They were doing a primer because they were going to stream the trial, but they apparently there's like no confirmation on if the whole trial itself was streamed or just the verdict and the sentencing. But I would love to watch the full trial, because the beginning, the judge normally asks you like confirmation questions, like was this made under, like, did you agree with this decision? Like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, even when the jury comes out there, when it's a jury trial and they're reading their verdict, if they want to poll the jurors, the judge will go through and ask each one, juror number 1, was this your verdict? Yes, it was. Juror number 2, and you go down. So you have an opportunity to speak up. Not, you don't have to fuck a podium, but like you could say something. So I don't know. And again, devil's advocate. To be fair, she's fucking 19. Or how old was she at the time? No, 17, just turned 18. And she clearly wasn't one of the chicks who is out there studying law, probably not even watching that many documentaries. She is the type who likes to go out, party, and do shit like that. And hey, I was too. I wasn't really watching that many documentaries at 16, 17, 18 either. I say that to say because she probably didn't really know the full weight of the difference between the two. So I don't necessarily fault her for that, but I fault her if she was feeling pressured by her attorney to make one decision or the other, to not step up and say something. So that's my thought on that. But yeah, so obviously she ended up getting convicted. She was found guilty on on a good amount of charges, but the two main ones, of course, are the murder convictions for Dominic and Davion. The judge had the opportunity to sentence her to 15 years to life. 15 years is minimum, but 15 years to life for each count. So for the murder counts for Dom and Davion. And then the option, not the more important, but another like 1A, 1B, right? Important factor with the sentencing is if the judge was going to do it consecutively or concurrently, which is a big fucking deal. If you're doing it consecutively, you're good to go. If she just does her 15 and she's granted parole, then she's out in 15. If it's concurrent, then, or I'm sorry, vice versa. But then if it's the other one, then she has fucking got to do 15 years the first one, and then another 15. So she's 30 years minimum, right? So it's like, bro, like 30 years minimum. But she got lucky. The judge at one point had said, I liked the judge, but I think she could have been a little bit harsher on the sentence. I at the very least would have had them go consecutively, so where she would be doing a minimum of 30. But the judge literally called her hell on wheels and said that she most likely will be spending the rest of her life in jail. And like essentially she doesn't think she'll ever be granted parole, which just tells you what kind of human being the judge thinks you are. And just add salt to your wounds, right? But she is eligible for parole in, I think it was 2037. So 9 years from now, which is kind of crazy to think about. I don't know. Like, to me, it's just kind of wild that she was convicted on murder in one hand, because when you think about it, I mean, yeah, like they had evidence that you could line up to make it look like this, but it is a big stretch, and that's why I feel like the prosecution got lucky that she did not win a jury trial. But yeah, I think that once she goes through the first 15 years, first of all, I can't fucking wait to watch that parole hearing. Like, that shit better be streamed, right? And God only knows what the world is going to look like in 9 years. But she'll never have a driver's license. That shit was like permanently restricted. Speaking of that, when she was in the hospital, one of the first things she said to her mom was, "Can't they just take my license away for 10 years or something?" It's like, motherfucker, you just killed two human beings. Whether you did so on purpose or not. You don't think you're going to go to jail at all? And that's what her friend Rosie even said at one point, like in the documentary. Like, she said that, oh, like, the thought of her getting arrested and then going to prison didn't even cross their mind because they were just sitting there thinking, like, oh my gosh, like, our friend just died. Which, again, to be fair, you're just in sorrow, right? You're not thinking of, like, oh, she did this on purpose. But it's very foolish to think that she's not going to get some type of punishment. Like, come on, bro. You fucking killed two human beings. Come on. Again, whether you did it intentionally or not, you're gonna get some prison time, some jail time. There's people who accidentally end someone else's life just by a legit accident, a legit just rear end accident, T-bone accident. Fuck. In Virginia, a bus, I haven't read into it yet, but I just saw something very brief. A bus fucking plowed into, I don't know how many cars on I-95 in Northern Virginia, fucking wasn't paying attention and I think was either going too fast or didn't stop in time and fucking killed 5 people and injured 34. 34 people are injured. 5 people are no longer living because he most likely was just distracted, just obviously made a mistake, right? He didn't go out there. It'd be wild if, we learn later that he intended this, right? But 99.9% certain he made a complete mistake, right? Just either A, wasn't paying attention, didn't stop in time, whatever. It was a complete accident. That dude is going to go to jail. He's going to go to jail. I watched a video, I think on Law and Crime. It was a truck driver. Almost the same situation as the bus driver. But this one, the truck driver was going, I think like 45 miles an hour or something. He was on his phone. He, I think, was actually on TikTok, scrolling through TikTok, when they later pulled his records and found what he was actually doing at the time. There was, I think, construction or something in the area because they were on a highway, like an interstate. So he most likely was not expecting there to be a sudden just standstill in traffic. Fair. You still gotta pay attention, my guy. And look, I am not Miss Saint over here. I, are sometimes like I don't want to get in trouble. Like, you need to look at your phone and shit, right? If you're at a red light, you're fucking like I have ADHD, so like you're thinking about so many things, like you're looking like just doing, we're all distracted humans. There's so many distractions nowadays. But this dude, truck driver, on his phone, slammed into the back of I forget the make of the cars, but it was a red car immediately in front of him, and then a red car, which is like an SUV, I think. That was in front of the red car. Officers, officers, fire trucks, all that stuff got there. The truck driver, they brought him to the ambulance, of course. They were addressing the people in the white car and everything. And then I think it was like 8-10 minutes into the body cam video. And again, they may have done some editing. But it was a good, almost at least 10 minutes into this particular officer and others being on the scene. The damage was so terrible to the red car. They didn't even know there was a second car there. It was so crushed. They didn't even know there was a second car, and it's a red car standing out against a white car, right? The only reason they realized there was a second car because of how fucked up it was because the front driver's side wheel ended up in like one of like I think like the middle lane or like like hovering over like the other lane or whatever. Because I don't remember if they were in the middle lane and whatever. But it ended up like over almost into the next lane. And one of the officers on the other side, they were like, wait, where did this wheel come from? Cars don't have 5 wheels. Obviously 18-wheelers have fucking 18. But an SUV doesn't have an extra wheel. Now, unless it was a Jeep, you have you're traveling with it on the back, but that wasn't the case. That's when they were like, the dude, like, I think he even said, like, holy fuck, there's another car here. And the person was fucking, obviously, crushed. There was not, obviously, I can't even imagine what it looked like. He's going to jail for some shit because of an accident. So for her to most likely be cognizant and to fucking be barreling down this road and to think, oh, well, can't they just take my license away for 10 years or something? How? Like, bro, like, I understand, like, young people, like, they don't really understand the actions or the consequences of their actions. But Jesus Christ, bro, like, you think you're just not gonna have any jail time? Like, you think that you, like, someone who gets a DUI, who maybe even didn't even hit anybody, right? Not lessening it, but just someone who gets pulled over for a DUI, they have to go to jail for a night. So you think you're not even going to go to jail for a night? Like, I was just like, girl, stop it. Stop it. So one last thing, she did, like I said earlier, make an appearance in the documentary, which I just thought was fucking great. I got pumped. I said, let's fucking go, because I could not wait to hear what this girl was going to say. I so wish I could show you the clip of it. She sits down, again, her hair was like slicked, her bangs was like down, swooshed to the side over her ear, and then she had like a bun on the top. She sits down and they ask her, like, so why did you agree to do this documentary? And, like, like, why, essentially, like, why are you speaking? And she was like, I haven't had the chance to share my side of the story and to, like, set the record straight, essentially. So I'm like, fuck yeah, here we go. Like, let's get some of the backstory, right? So I think they go to a different scene, and then maybe not, or maybe they just stick with her. But essentially, she says, I remember making that right-hand turn, and then the next thing I know, I'm waking up and it's the next day and I'm in a hospital bed. And I'm like, okay, we're still sticking with that. Okay. So what else you got? Like, what happened before? Like, why did you leave? Like, I'm sitting here thinking these producers are going to ask who, what, where, when, why, right? You fucking have a prime opportunity sitting right in front of you. The whole point of the documentary is focusing on this crazy bitch, right? And you have a prime opportunity. You're literally sitting in front of her to ask her any question. Now, is she going to answer? No, not any and every question. Her lawyer's sitting off to the side, off camera. She's not gonna, like, fucking spill all the beans, right? And incriminate herself. But you, at least as a reporter, as an interviewer, journalist, whatever you want to call yourself, you have the duty, man, to ask the question knowing you're going to get shut down. Like, you at least have to ask, though. Because if you don't ask, then that person can be like, oh, well, no one's ever asked. No one ever asked me what led up to us leaving at 5:30. You know what I mean? So, and again, maybe they did. Maybe it got edited out. If it did, I would just think that's fucking absurd, unless it was a legal reason. Like, maybe they asked certain questions that she did answer, and then the lawyer was like, "That's no, like, stop talking." So they just cut off that whole portion. So again, benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's the case. But from what we know, from what we've seen, the fact that the producer did not ask, okay, so you don't remember what happened after you made that turn. What happened prior to the turn? Why did you leave? Why did you guys go to your friend's house for a sleepover and end up leaving a few hours later at 5? We'll call it 5 since the footage was at 5:34. Why did you guys leave at 5? Like, why didn't you just sleep there? What teenager or, young adult wants to wake up early and drive anywhere. I fucking hated the morning shift, the 7 to 3 shift. I thought the world was ending every day because I had to wake up early and go to work and be somewhere at 7. The last thing I wanted to do was wake up at 5 if I didn't have to, especially if I was partying or at friends. You got me fucked up. I'm sleeping on, you know how many times me and my friends, like, we were sleeping in the hallway together, sharing blankets and shit because we didn't want to go anywhere. You're with your best friends, supposedly, right? Why are you leaving the comfort of their home at 5 to go to your house? It's like, I didn't get that. Like, so if I'm there and I'm the producer, cool. You don't remember what happened after you made the right-hand turn? Fine. Okay. What happened before? Why did you leave? What kind of mood was dominant? What kind of mood was Davion in? Like, why did he want to leave? Because he was supposed to sleep there that night too. Bubba, I think, gave some reason like he wanted to go home and like get ready for something, but like that would be, I feel like that would answer so much. Again, if she's gonna be truthful, who knows? But her answer alone would give you at least some direction to start. Why did you leave at 5? Like, why didn't you just stay? That, I think, would tell a lot and direct us in a lot, and maybe a good amount of directions, right? Or at least different avenues where we could eliminate or ask new questions or something. But I just can't believe they only asked her a couple, like, softball questions, and then they were like, so but like her thing is she can't recall. I have no recollection. Like, of course, that's the key word. I don't recall. That's what they tell you to say on the stand to not incriminate yourself. I don't recall. So yeah, I just don't fucking get it, man. How they just didn't let them ask questions. And then at the end, she goes, I just wanted to share my story and put the truth out there and make sure that everyone knows that it was never my intention to go out there and kill Dominic or Davion. I love them. It was never my intention. So her buzzwords are intention and recollection. It was never her intention because you have to have intent for murder. And she doesn't recall because that bitch ain't incriminating herself. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's just very convenient, you know? But yeah, and that was pretty much it. That's pretty much all she said. And I'm just like, really? Like, that's all you got to say? Like, you don't, like, if I'm truly innocent of something, I am fucking, you're not going to get me to shut up. Just like here. You're not going to get me to shut up. You know what I mean? And to think that you're locked up in prison all day, every day, and you have an opportunity to, first of all, interact with other human beings and, like, normal, everyday people, and to do something, I don't want to say cool because of the circumstances, but at least do something where you have the opportunity to set the record straight, get off your chest, whatever happened that night, get more information to help your case. Nothing. And at the end, she looks over off screen to her lawyer and she's like, was that the answer to everything okay? Like, or like, was the tone okay or something to that effect? And I'm just like, again, some people read into that a little bit more. I kind of get it because, you know, she's probably terrified to say anything, which I totally understand, but I don't know. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on the crash. Again, I am TBD on if we do any more on her. There's a shit ton of stuff that we can, like other videos, phone calls we can listen to and stuff like that. But I just wanted to get that obviously off my chest because it's just wild to me. I just still can't believe that she survived, first of all. So, I mean, blessing for her, right? It's just sad. Sad is an understatement, right? To think of the terror that Dom and Davion went through the last 5 seconds. I just couldn't even imagine. Like, knowing you're about to die, like you can't do anything to stop it. You're trying, you can't do anything to stop it. I can't even imagine. Makes me think twice of who I'm gonna get in the car with too. You know what I mean? But yeah, guys. So that is the crash, and that is the kind of full-ish breakdown of what happened there. But yeah, wanted to go over that. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you guys, whether you're new here, watching our replay. Appreciate you guys. We will definitely be diving into other cases, topics, news, stuff like that. Definitely going to touch on the Alec Murdaugh case because we want to talk about a clusterfuck. But we're going to do that a little bit later on once we get like a confirmed date for the retrial for that. But yeah, we're going to dive into that. Gonna pick out some other stuff. But yeah, it's just fucking crazy out there, y'all. Muhammad, yeah, dude, what up, what up? Oh, Lori Lewis, what up, Lori? What up, what up? Yeah, you said the bench trial was a mistake. Couldn't agree with you more. Could not agree with you more. Rude Dog, I appreciate you, bro. You said, Ash, you should be a detective, my lady. That's so dope. I appreciate you for saying that. It's funny, like, I would love to be a detective, but I just, you know, I don't want to carry a gun. Then you have to be like an officer, right? First. But yeah. Yeah, and Tammy said she's another clusterfuck. Brewdog, hey bro, you said, wow, pretty harsh, Ash. I'm here for it. Yeah, dude, you know. You gotta call it like you see it, you know. I mean, no disrespect, you know, and I'm not here to defame anyone or anything like that, but play stupid games, you get stupid names. So there's that. You said the Benoit case, bro. That would be, you know, there's actually a interesting little, I guess, like piece of info that came out that I had no idea. Maybe you guys knew. Apparently, someone had edited his Wikipedia page, I think maybe a day or a few hours prior to the murder actually occurring and people finding out. So the authorities had to go question this person, and they said, "Oh, it was just like a dumb joke, and like just ended up being like an eerie joke or whatever." But there's people out there who think that he was framed and that he did not actually do it, and someone actually did it to him and his wife and son. So I'm not on that. I love me a good conspiracy theory. I'm not in that one though. Yeah, maybe we can jump into that other tidbit though. But yeah, guys, that is it. That is all that I have for everyone this evening. Again, thank you so much for joining, popping in. I appreciate you all. It's Friday night. Wrestling was on earlier this afternoon, or just ended a while ago if you're watching on the East Coast live. But we will TBD on the next stream. I want to say maybe, I don't know. My schedule's a little weird right now, but we'll definitely be getting back to it. Obviously, with this channel going on too. Going to be doing a little more research on some other cases I want to dive into, and then we'll go from there. But if you guys have anything you want to recommend, or any trials or documentaries or anything like that you've watched or you think are crazy, or just anything at all, or you have like a contrarian opinion on, would love to hear it, and we can dive into it. Of course, there's the popular ones like Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson, right? Of course, Casey Anthony, all those. I actually have I think, an unpopular opinion on the Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson one. So maybe we'll talk about that one day. But yeah, the floor is open, guys. So again, I appreciate you all for joining. Oh, you said... Brewdog, you said, oh no, don't go down this rabbit hole. Oh, I've already been down it, my friend. I have been down it and digging for quite some time. Quite some time. It's only alive because he wasn't home that day. You said his one kid is only alive because he wasn't home that day. That's crazy, Tommy. What? His one kid is only alive. What are you talking about, man? Which one are you talking about? His one kid is only alive because what was I just talking about? Fucking Scott Peterson, Casey Anthony. You have to. Oh, Benoit. Oh, got you. Yeah. Yeah, well, and he didn't live with them because, like, he has a different mom than, oh my gosh. Why am I blanking on the son's name now? David? Benoit? No, not David. The son's the little boy. Oh my gosh. Why am I blanking on the little boy's name? But yeah, no, I mean, who knows, man? Who fucking knows? But maybe if David was there, maybe he could have done something. I don't know. Like, you don't want to put that out there because, I'm sure he goes through it enough. But I just can't imagine, dude. But yeah, guys, so I appreciate you all for joining and sticking around. You guys are the best out there. I don't care who says otherwise. But enjoy the rest of your Friday nights. Again, go watch wrestling if you haven't. We will be joining each other sometime very soon. Like I said, I have to figure out what day. And yeah, we'll go from there. But have a great night, guys. Take care and be safe.